Welcome back to our Mishnah Berurah learning. We have been focusing on Shabbat, and we're going to pause and come back to Shabbat. But for now, we're going to shift into Hilchot Pesach. And before that freaks you out, there is a really, I think, wise tradition that we begin learning about a holiday in advance. We want to make sure that we're prepared, and especially for Pesach, we want to do this 30 days in advance so that we know all of the things that we should be doing and we're prepared and able to do them. So we talked a little bit about this on Shabbos in our shares we were learning together, and I wanted to pull out one piece because it felt very meaningful and I wanted to share it with you as well. So this is in the Mishnah Berurah is commenting on the Shulchan Aruch. Shulchan Aruch has said, mitzvah lechalek latinokot klayot ve'egozim kadei sheyir'u shinui v'yishalu. So there's this practice of putting out, in whatever time period you're living in, foods that are not the normal foods that you would put out so that kids will notice something's different and ask questions. So Mishnah Berurah explains that this is really like a live manishtana, like the real questions of why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? That the kids should ask those in real time. What Mishnah Berurah quotes here is that there's actually a different girsa. There's a different way that this is written in the Gemara, where it's kadei shelo yishnu v'yishalu. So we put out these things so that the kids don't fall asleep and so that they ask questions. And the difference there is the need to keep the children awake. So part of what I really appreciate here is that it's recognizing, a timeless question of how we deal with the fact that the Sidarim are late and children can't necessarily stay up that late, but so much of it is about telling the children the story of leaving Egypt. So Mishnah Berurah really names this. That we want to keep the kids up so that they don't fall asleep until after we've said Avadim Hayinu. So they should really know and understand what happened with our exodus from Egypt. And the whole point of the mitzvah, the essence of it, is being able to answer the question that the child is asking. This is really what the Torah tells us to do, that we're supposed to tell this story over to the child who's asking the question. What's interesting is he adds, "V'lo k'moshe osim eza hamon she'achar amirat manishtana minichim layeladim leilech v'lishan ve'enan yodim shum tshuva al she'alatam." So we don't have the practice, says in Mishnah Berurah, of what some people do where they actually put their kids to bed after they've said manishtana. So the kids have worked really hard to learn manishtana, they say it, and then they go to sleep. And while this, on the one hand, may be like a good bedtime practice, Avadim Hayinu isn't that much later, so that's part of what Mishnah Berurah is getting at. But there's something really powerful about the way that this statement ends, because we don't want the Einam Yodi'im, we don't want them to know or to learn from this Shum Tshuva al She'elatam, that there's no answer to their questions. So we don't want to set up a situation, even for a young child, where we teach them to ask questions without seeking out an answer, without having their question be heard and respected. And this is part of what we talked about on Shabbat, that there's deep value in Judaism in teaching that we listen and respect the questions of others, and that we find kedusha and holiness in machloket and disagreement and debate and learning of Torah. But also that we believe that there is an answer. There may not always be the best possible answer we can come up with. We still do the halachic practice as it is, but the message that in Judaism we seek out an answer and that we believe there is an answer, maybe multiple answers, is also, I think, a recognition of faith. So as we begin at this time of year to prepare for Pesach, and we know there's a lot of tachlis that goes into it, there's a lot of work and effort, and I am totally with you on that being exhausting at times, but also meaningful. I think the fact that this is a lesson that we can be intentional about our children's bedtime at the Seder. Yes, it is hard. It's really hard. There might be, some children who need to go to bed earlier, but the point is that the halacha is identifying that what we do it communicates values to our children. Anything, whether we answer someone's question or not, is going to tell them how we experience them asking and how we respect them. And the fact that even for a young child on Seder night, when it's really late, that we're concerned, we want to make sure that we're not communicating to you that your question doesn't deserve an answer, is a very, I think, beautiful, but also in a larger context of what it is to keep Pesach, a recognition of freedom, that we value each voice.